What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to talk about Crocodile. You see, OPO4 is out in Japan right now. And what's really annoying is I have shown you winning deck lists for every new leader from OPO4 except for Crocodile. I have not shown you a winning deck list from OPO4 Crocodile, and I'm going to be honest with you, it's not for any reason other than I am watching the metagame over in Japan, ladies and gentlemen. I am following a bunch of players, game stores, etc. I'm watching the results. I am not seeing Crocodile doing well. I am not seeing any love for OPO4 Crocodile over in Japan. I am just not seeing the love. Although I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, if I can find a winning deck list or two, I will share it with you. What's weird, though, is that while I'm searching through, having a look for all of these new winning decks, I did find a winning Crocodile deck list. It's starter deck Crocodile. Over in the OPO4 meta, over in Japan, thanks in part to new cards from OPO4 over in Japan, Crocodile is actually doing decently well. I'm not here arguing that it is the best deck in the game. I mean, I literally came here a day or two ago and told you very clearly that Rebecca is the best deck in the game. It's won the last two giant tournaments over in Japan. It was both the finalists at one of them. It's put it another way, the last two big tournaments in Japan, Rebecca was 3 of the 4 finalists. Rebecca is the best deck over in Japan. But you know who's a bit of a rival of Rebecca? Crocodile. Okay, fine, Crocodile's a bit of a rival of Vivi, but you know what I mean. Close enough, ladies and gentlemen. If they can group them in OPO4, I can make that reference. So what have we got then with this deck? Well, it is starter deck Crocodile, activate main once per turn, Don -4, return up to 1 character with a cost of 5 or less to its owner's hand. Could be yours, could be your opponent's, but what we've got here is basically a bunch of, disruption. Trying to make sure that our opponent doesn't have the characters they want on the field. So what else do we see? Well, we got Who's Who. This is the one from OPO4, 1 cost 2,000 power, and on play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, find an Animal Kingdom Pirates card other than Who's Who, add it to your hand, and then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. It's a card we've seen in basically everything at the moment. It's a very standard card at this stage. It is your go and search. This case, it's for Animal Kingdom Pirates. Yes, we're going to see some more of those as we go. Now, we've also got ourselves a couple copies of Kaya, which shouldn't really surprise anyone. This is a card that pops up in a lot of blue decks, because on play, you draw 2 cards, trash 2 from your hand. It's not really draw power per se, but what it is it's cycling through your deck in a way which is very, very nice. You see more cards, and you just end up a bunch more consistent. This is a good thing, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very, very good thing. Those are the 1-cost cards. We've also got ourselves a 2-cost Alvida here. Now, this is the one that came around in OPO1. 2 cost 3,000 power, counter plus 2,000. You need a few of those in the deck. And on X1, when attacking, you may trash a card from your hand to return up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less to the owner's hand. Gee whiz, that sounds a lot like Crocodile skill, ladies and gentlemen. I think we might be sensing a little bit of a pattern. Now, we've also got the 3-cost Doflamingo. This came around in OPO1. And we've got Blocker. And on play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and place them back at the top or bottom of your deck in any order. So it actually makes your deck a bit more consistent because it lets you rearrange the top cards of your deck, stack it a little bit, try and make sure you're drawing into what you want. But it's also a decent low-cost blocker, and every deck needs some decent low-cost blockers. So that'll do very, very nicely indeed. Now, we do have ourselves some Sasaki in here as well, a full playset in fact. 3 cost, and this is one of the ones from OPO4. 3 cost, 4,000 power, and counter plus 2,000, another one of them, like I've said, you need some. And on play, you return all cards in your hand to your deck, shuffle your deck, and then draw a number of cards equal to the cards returned to your deck. When this was initially revealed, I told you this was great draw power, it was great for consistency. It's not seen quite as much play as I might have expected in all the blue decks, but it comes in as a playset here. I really like it. I think it is really good for extra consistency here, and frankly, this is another one of those cards from OP04, which is making this deck a bit better. There are a few OP04 cards in this deck. That is not a coincidence. Now, we've also got ourselves Miss All Sunday. This is one from OP01. Free cost, 1,000 power and another blocker. And on KO, if your leader is Baroque Works, add an event from your trash to your hand. And as anyone that's read the manga or watched the anime will know, and that includes me now, yes, Crocodile does absolutely count 7 Warlords of the Sea and Baroque Works. So you get your events back while also being a blocker. That sounds pretty good to me. Now, one of the new cards that we do see from OP04 is Ulti. Free cost, 4,000 power, counter plus 1,000. And this is another Animal Kingdom Pirates. Like I say, there are a bunch in the deck. Don X1, when attacking, return up to 1 character of a cost of 2 or less to the owner's hand or the bottom of their deck. So once again, we've got this removal, which is playing a big part in the deck. Now, we got Bo Hancock coming in here. 4 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 1,000. Another blocker. That is 3 blockers we've seen now. 12 cards in total with block printed on them. And Don X1, when attacking or blocking, draw a card if you have 5 or fewer cards in your hand. So you'll notice there's a bunch of draw power here between Kaya, Sasaki, and this. We've got a decent amount of draw power coming in here. This is a good thing. This is going to be a consistent deck. We're trying to get rid of our opponent's cards. We're being nice and consistent. We're having fun. Rocky is also from OP04. And look, it's not a good card. It's a vanilla card, but it's an Animal Kingdom Pirates, which means it's searchable with Who's Who. It is a vanilla 5 cost, 7,000 power, counter plus 1,000. There's nothing special about this card, but it's beefy. It's a decent attacker. These vanilla cards tend to be, at least on the higher end, and it's searchable with Who's Who. I wish I could give you a better answer here, but this is just the way it is. And then we get to, I suppose it's fair to say, the headline cards. We got Sniper King or Soj King. Now, this is a 7 cost, and we are pretty heavy on the bigger cards here. We've got 7 cost, 6,000 power. This is, of course, the secret rare from OP03. It's also called Usopp, that doesn't matter. On play, return a character that costs 6 or less to their owner's hand, and then draw 2, trash 2. That's everything we've been talking about in this deck so far. The themes of this deck so far have been accessing your deck, not always necessarily draw, because like here you're discarding as many as you draw, but you're seeing more cards in your deck, and getting your opponent's cards off the field. This does both of them. In this particular deck, it's basically perfect. We've then got 3 copies of the 9 cost Dracula Mihawk from OP01. This is, again, there's no counter here, but it's a big, beefy card. On play, place up to 1 character of a cost of 7 or less to the bottom of its owner's deck. And here I'm clearly going to be showing you the alternate art from Akira Egawa, because it's one of the best artworks we've seen in the game. I adore Egawa's artwork for One Piece. I think it's phenomenal. But here we got a 9,000 power character, very good attacker, and we're removing characters. And what you're basically doing here is using all of these cards, getting rid of your opponent's characters, and then saying to your opponent, hi, I've got some really beefy attackers here. So Rocky ends up being good. I've got some beefy attackers. I've gotten rid of anything on your field worth getting rid of. Ha! And then, of course, obviously, like, if you've been following OP04 and you've been watching this video, you're going to be thinking, oh, he's playing the new Kaido. You better believe we're playing the new Kaido. 10 cost, 12,000 power, but on play you return a character of a cost of 8 or less and a character with a cost of 3 or less to the owner's hand. If you're playing the whole removal game, and look, I've been showing you this deck, we are very much playing the removal game. Obviously, Kaido here works beautifully, and it's Animal Kingdom Pirates, so absolutely searchable with Who's Who. And between Kaido and Dracula Meanhawk, and even Rocky here, you've got some really powerful characters that are going to be really, really good. You know, basically, you take away all of your opponent's characters, and then you sit there being like, look how beefy my board is. You cannot stand up to this board. Tee-hee-hee-hee-hee. Kind of funny, kind of brilliant. Absolutely love it. And of course, we go back to Crocodile. That's got removal. We are loving it. And then, of course, I said we've got events here. Obviously, we've got some events. Now, one which you're going to be able to guess is going to be in here is 1,000 Worlds, or 3,000 Worlds. 4-cost event, and it gets rid of a 5-cost character to the bottom of its owner's deck, or as a trigger, a 3-cost character. With everything we've seen from this deck already, and how much play this card sees in basically every blue deck, this was a given. It sees play, like I say, in like every blue deck, but then it also comes in here as removal, which is clearly a good thing, and yeah, this was always going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. This was inevitable. We also see ourselves a couple copies coming in here of Dragon Twister Demolition Breath, which, yes, is a bit of a mouthful. Another one of the new cards from OP04. And we got counter up to one of your leader or characters gains 4,000 power during this battle. Then place up to one character with a cost of 1 or less to the bottom of its owner's deck. But more interestingly, a lot of the time for this deck, as a trigger, return a character of a cost of 6 or less to the owner's hand. Now, it goes hand, not deck, but it's still taking a 6-cost character off the board, and that is the huge theme of this deck. Getting their characters off of the board so that they can't do very much with them. It's fun! And then we get ourselves a full playset here of Gum Gum Red Rock. As a main, as a 6-cost, return any character to the bottom of its owner's deck. No caveat here, any character you like. And then as a trigger, it's a 4-cost or less. This deck has so much removal, but that's kind of the point. We've got actually less counter than a lot of decks, because some of the bigger, fancier characters we're playing don't have counter. But what we do have here is a bunch of blockers. That's enough counter, I suppose. But we've got enough blockers here, and we've got lots of removal, and then we've got big characters to finish off the game at the end. Your goal essentially is get rid of all the characters on your opponent's side of the board that are worth having, and then kind of laugh because you've got giant characters waiting to take them out. Right, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Not a deck I was expecting, but you'll notice this isn't a deck, in this form at least, that works pre-OP04. You need things like Kaido, like Gum Gum Red Rock, like Who's Who, etc. There are a bunch of OP04 cards here, and you really do need them. I mean, just from OP04, we got Ulti, we got Kaido, we got Saki, we got Who's Who, we got Rocky, and we got the 2 event cards. All of that is working to make this deck work. So, yeah, sure, we might be going starter deck Crocodile here, but make no mistake about it, this is not a deck which really exists outside of that. Make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, this is very much an OP04 deck. But I want to know what you think about this OP04 deck, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWazzy. That's where we talk One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wassy Plays.